Hi, and welcome to the channel. Today we are super excited to bring you a new commander from MTG's Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Obeka Splitter of Seconds. This is a 2/5 Grixis commander that costs blue, black, red and 1 colorless. It has manas and reeds. Whenever Obeka Splitter of Seconds deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. When we realized that you get that many upkeeps depending on the amount of damage dealt, we immediately started to brew. This seems to be a very fun and interesting commander to play that messes up with phases, much similar to the previous Obeka Brute Chronologists that could manipulate the player's end turn. This also immediately reminded us of the 9th Doctor paired with Clara Oswald choosing black, who has a very similar ability giving additional upkeeps, so we used it as an inspiration for the deck. We built a fun and dangerous deck even to ourselves, trying to take advantage of upkeep triggers as much as possible, and at the same time protecting and giving unblockable evasion to our commander, making sure that she gives combat damage so the ability can trigger. We also tried not to make too much about having multiple upkeep triggers, since a couple are enough, but having a good balance with the payoff for those upkeep triggers, while also being able to survive and interact with the board at the same time. We added some dangerous cards in the sense that they could end up killing us, like Descent from Avernus or Call of the Ring, and some more that we will share later on. We thought the payoff would compensate for the risk and at the same time make for a more dynamic game. We only added 18 creatures, and they trigger with upkeeps or protect and give evasion to our commander. These are Caves of Chaos Adventurer. This one uses the initiative, which is one of the other paths that you could take with the deck. We did not take it in this case for the most part. The initiative is a player's designation, similar to Monarch, introduced in Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, and is the only way to enter the Undercity dungeon. At the start of the game, no player has the initiative. The initiative status only enters the game through a card's ability that causes a player to take the initiative. Once a player has the initiative, they retain the initiative until another player's creature deals combat damage to them, at which point that creature's controller takes the initiative. Alternatively, another player may play a card that has them take the initiative, transferring it that way as well. Creeping Bloodsucker, Dragon Master Outcast, K9 Mark I, Keeper of Keys, Bone Horde Dracosaur, Laughing Jasper Flint. Also a new legendary card from this set that would also make for a fun commander, and it reads: creatures you control but don't own are mercenaries in addition to their other types. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of target opponent's library, where X is the number of outlaws you control. Until the end of turn, you may cast spells from among those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. Also, there is a new rule since this card came out that states that Oviashinos are now considered lizards. So now you can build your lizard typo. Nightscape Familiar, Passageway Seer, Plargan Nasari, Quakebringer, Sheoldred Whispering One, Silent Arbiter, since we will not have that many creatures on the battlefield and our commander has manas, Sin Prodder, Sphinx of the Second Sun, the 9th Doctor, Twilight Prophet, Shanatar Guild Kingpin. Now for sorceries. We also focused on the suspend mechanic for some of them, since we aim for multiple upkeeps. Suspend is a keyword that represents 3 abilities. The first is a static ability that allows you to exile the card from your hand with a specified number of time counters. By paying it is suspend costs. The second is a triggered ability that removes a time counter from the suspended card at the beginning of each of your upkeeps. The third is a triggered ability that causes you to cast the card when the last time counter is removed. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until you lose control of that creature, or in rare cases, you lose control of the creature spell while it's on the stack. Suspend received a functional update along with the release of Murders at Karlov Manor. When the last time counter is removed from a suspended card, casting that spell is now optional. If you don't cast it, it will remain in exile indefinitely. So, now for the cards. Ancestral Vision, Anger of the Gods and Languish. Since our commander has 5 toughness, this is ideal. Artful Dodge has flashback, so it can be played from the graveyard for only 1 blue mana as well. Blasphemous Act, Inevitable Betrayal, Inspiring Refrain, Thysis. Had to look this up on how to pronounce it, and found out that this name comes from a classical Greco-Roman personification of rot, decay and putrefaction. Destroy target creature, its controller loses life equal to its power plus its toughness. Profane Tutor, Rousing Refrain, Wheel of Fate. We did not add a lot of instants, but for those we did add, we tried to maintain the theme. They are as follows. Arcane Denial. Counter target spell. Its controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. You draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Slip Out the Back. Sudden Spoiling and VATS. Both instants with Split Second. A static ability that does not allow any players to put any spell or activated ability on the stack as long as the spell with Split Second is on the stack. We thought this would be very much on theme since our Obeka is our master of phases and time. Now for artifacts. We have added a lot of mana producers such as Arcane Signet, Lotus Bloom. For 0 cost we can put it on Suspend 3 and then sacrifice it to add 3 mana of any color. Relic of Sauron. For mana and draw, Replicating Ring. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 9th counter on Replicating Ring. Then, if it has 8 or more 9th counters on it, remove all of them and create 8 colorless snow artifact tokens named Replicated Ring with tap, add 1 mana of any color. Soul Ring. Talisman of Creativity, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Indulgence. Tempting Contract. Very on theme as well. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent who does, you create a treasure token. To protect our commander and give evasion we have Lightning Greaves, Whisper Silk Cloak, and Swiftfoot Boots. And for card advantage we have also added Portal to Phyrexia. When Portal to Phyrexia enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. Midnight Clock. Tap, add blue. 2 blue, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. At the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. When the 12th hour counter is put on Midnight Clock, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards. Exile Midnight Clock. Now, for our main Wincon of the deck, Darksteel Reactor. Indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a charge counter on Darksteel Reactor. When Darksteel Reactor has 20 or more charge counters on it, you win the game. We have added a ton of enchantments to the deck, since it is where there is much value to be gained off the upkeep triggers, and there is a lot to choose from. We have decided on the following. As foretold, Break Through the Line, Call of the Ring, Phyrexian Arena, Descent into Avernus. Yes, it might kill you, but we figured that Obeka is a tough lady and would not mind the danger. Court of Ambition, Court of Embereth, Court of Ire, Court of Lochwain, Court of Vendrus. Into Deep. This one does not trigger on the upkeep, but is a piece of board control with split seconds. Palace Siege. Paradox Haze. Our failsafe if for some reason we end up playing without our commander. Propaganda. A bit of protection since we will probably be an enemy on the table. Protection Racket. Stolen Strategy. Struggle for Project Purity. We will not mention all the lands that we used, since this will depend on the budget you are willing to spend. And also, you can see the full decklist link on the video's description. But we will mention the utility lands specific for this build. And these are Bottomless Vault and Sand Silos. These are storage lands that trigger on upkeep. A storage land is a land that can gain storage counters in one way or another, and later be tapped to remove any number of storage counters and add that much mana. Usually that mana is colored. Inventor's Fair. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, you gain 1 life. Tap, add colorless. 4. Tap, sacrifice Inventor's Fair, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it in your hand and shuffle. Activate only if you control 3 or more artifacts. Siju, Death's Storehouse and the Black Gate, so that we can give Unblockable to our commander. We did not add Rogue's Passage since we thought these were better options, but it is also a good one to add. We hope you like our version of the deck. Let us know what you think and what cards would you add. If you would like to like and subscribe, it would really help us a lot. See you soon!